Okay, these are your notes on rewriting literal equations and formulas. So literal equations is just when you're given a formula or an equation and you're rearranging it for a specific variable. So literal equations, solving a formula or an equation to isolate a given variable. Now, your solutions for literal equations are not going to be numeric solutions. You're just rearranging so that you can isolate any specific variable that they ask you to. So for number 1, we have area equals length times width. And they want us to solve this equation for W. So we're trying to isolate W. We're still going to use our opposite operations. So area equals length times width. So to get W by itself, we're going to do the opposite of multiplying, and we're going to divide both sides by L. So area divided by length gives us W. And that is your solution. Okay. Number 2. I equals PRT. This time they want us to solve for R. Okay. So look at what's happening to R. Right now, R is being multiplied by P and it's being multiplied by T. So to get R by itself, we're going to do the opposite and divide by P and T on both sides. So I divided by PT would give us R, and that is your solution. Number 3. D equals BX plus W, and this time we're solving for X. So B times X plus W. So now we have multiplication and we have addition. So we're multiplying X by B and then adding W. So before we can divide to get X by itself, the first thing we have to move is this W. Because we're adding W, we're going to do the opposite, which is subtract W from both sides. That's going to cancel. So we have D, and we're subtracting W. These are not like terms, so you can't combine them in any way. So we're just going to write D minus W equals B times X. Now, just like we did before on number 1, to get X by itself, we're going to divide by B on both sides. So what's important here is you're dividing this entire side by B. So when you're writing that fraction out, you need to make sure that fraction bar goes all the way across, and you're dividing the whole thing by B. And that equals X. Number 4. This time we're solving for Y. So we're looking for this variable right here. So 9x minus 3 times Y equals 21. So just like on number 3, when we had to get rid of the W, we're going to start by subtracting the 9x. Because 9 and x are being multiplied together, we're going to move them as one piece. They are one term, and subtract them from both sides. So we get negative 3 times y gives us 21 minus 9x. Again, there are no x's over here. There are 0 x's. So if I have 0 x's and I take away 9, I have negative 9x. And then last, we need to get y by itself, so we're going to divide everything on both sides by negative 3. So here we can simplify because we're dividing by negative 3. So 21 divided by negative 3 is negative 7. And negative 9 divided by negative 3 is positive 3x. So y equals negative 7 plus 3x. Number 5. 5 plus 5y equals 10x, and we're still solving for y. You guys get used to solving for y. You're going to be doing it a lot. Okay. So our x's are already on the opposite side of our equation from the y's. So the first thing we need to move is this constant here, this plus 5. So I'm going to subtract 5 because it's a positive 5. So we have 5y equals 10x minus 5. Now again, notice, my 5 that I'm subtracting does not have an x, so I cannot take this 5 away from my 10x. They're two separate terms. Okay. And again, our last step is to divide. Make sure you're dividing that entire side. So we get y equals 10 divided by 5 would give us 2x, and then negative 5 divided by 5 is minus 1. Okay, and then lastly we have number 6, and we are solving for x. So w equals y times x minus z. So the process for number 6 is going to match the processes for 3, 4, and 5, except now we have no numbers. So we're solving for x. The first thing I need to get rid of is this minus z. So I'm going to add z to both sides. So those cancel. Z and w are not like terms, so it's just going to turn into z plus w. It's plus w because this w is positive. Equals y times x. And then to get x by itself, we need to cancel out this y. So we're going to divide by y on both sides. So our final answer is x equals z plus w divided by y. And we can't simplify because these are not like terms and we can't simplify any coefficients. So there's your final solution. Okay, this is going to go in your ISN. Bring it to class tomorrow so you have reference when we practice.